Hello, everybody, and welcome to the unnamed comic book related podcast with me, Cole Espinite, sometimes known as the Cole host, and my co-host. Now on this show, my co-host, Boss Nasty, also known as Ethan. How are you, man?
I'm doing well.
Doing well. All right, so this is the first episode of this. We've been kind of talking about it in other stuff that we do, gaming stuff, and it's something we've both been, I guess, kind of looking forward to, and I've been avoiding doing, but here we are. And let's get right into it. We're going to have a main topic here. We wanted to talk about kind of the difference, the pros and cons of graphic novels and collected editions versus like monthly comics, because it's been something that's been on my mind lately, and it's better to have someone to bounce ideas off of than to just talk to a camera, in my opinion. Then we're going to be talking about Batman Year One, which is kind of, I guess, the quintessential Batman origin, even though I have a lot of contention with calling it that now that I've actually read it. But we'll get into it. Alright, so let's get into this main topic then. I'll start because it's kind of been something that's been on my mind, this kind of like debate in my head, I guess. But kind of to explain a little bit, more recently I've kind of moved most of my collection. I never know which way it is in the camera. I've kind of moved most of my collection to like collected editions, graphic novels, and stuff like that. It's just I feel like I prefer the format. I think there's a lot of things with kind of monthly comics, at least the way that they're released in America, that not only sometimes, in my opinion, hurt the storytelling, but it's just like kind of exploitative and not worth it, at least for me, because I like to have a complete story. And again, these are just broad thoughts, but like I've been kind of having this debate in my head, but I might jump back into some monthlies. It's just like, also I think the monthlies that I was reading just weren't satisfying me, so that also like brought a lot of kind of like negative feelings towards it, and there's some stuff there, but like, where do you sit on this side of the debate? Which do you prefer, collected editions, graphic novels, or are you a monthly guy?
So I feel like I'm mixed. I know, like, originally you want to do this as a like solo video, so I just wanted to hop in because it was kind of like a big thing with me, because I like collecting older issues of comics, because the main comics I like, of course, Azrael and Shade the Changing Man haven't really had any kind of collected volumes completely. But now we're getting this new Shade the Changing Man one that's going to be $150 supposedly. Of course, on Amazon when it releases, probably
it'll be
$70
too. Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
by the time it comes out.
So it's not like too big of a deal. It's not that expensive. But for the most part, I do like having a collected issue. Some things I think are a bit much. I know we're not big on visualized here.
No.
Some things like this just feel like they're going to be so fucking hard to read.
Yeah, no. There is a point where it cuts off. I think a lot of omnibuses really ride the line where like readability starts to come into question.
Yeah, and I'll be talking about an omnibus later. I think actually does pretty good at being like a nice thing. But even my Grayson one is like fucking huge. And it's like, goddamn, like...
I mean, it's nice to have a whole run in one book, but the other thing is, wouldn't you rather just have like two books so that it was easier to read? I do think about that a lot.
Or a big one, because I think these books are like, this is so much. Imagine them putting this in, one book.
I also think though a paperback changes things, because I think paperbacks are always going to be infinitely more readable.
Well, even this in a hardcover, like this is not that thick. Sorry, this is not that thick. It is
that's true.
Reasonable.
I think my only really huge omnibus is Annihilation. I have the Infinity one as well, but that's kind of a smaller book.
Yeah, I think it might be a DC problem too for making massive fucking omnibuses.
Yeah, but I do like that DC actually puts time into their collected editions. Like they actually do them and care. And DC will put out a collection of anything. It'll be like 3 issues, and DC will be like, yeah, put it in a book. And I think that's cool. Which Marvel doesn't really do that. Marvel will wait like 20 years, and then they're like, yeah, I guess we'll publish a book about this.
Yeah, and then we'll put it in like 30 different terrible issues of something else semi-related.
It really frustrates me with Marvel too, because there's a lot of Marvel stuff that isn't collected that I've like went and looked for, and the thing that really frustrates me, not to put it on like these corporate terms, but like, you got that Disney money now. Just print books. But yeah. I did hear, I was listening to somebody else, and I wish I could credit them. I totally would if I could remember. But I was listening to somebody else, so this specific thing that I heard is that some of the people who are still at Marvel at the top, like the actual Marvel company, not Disney, are from the bankruptcy times. So there might be some hesitation to like overprint, because obviously before that in the 90s, Marvel was like hugely overprinting stuff.
Yeah.
So like it might be kind of just like an old head thing where they just like don't want to overprint, and it's just kind of like instinct for them. And that I would understand, but also you literally have the blank check. You literally have the blank check to just print books. and make money off them. They'll make money. People will buy them. Everybody likes something, dude.
Yeah.
There's at least two people who will buy the like Machine Man Omnibus.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't say like a big thing. Like I was looking just because like there's so much stuff that you see like when you're like casually interested in comics and just like being around that sphere. So I was like looking at sorry, I'm pulling up my Amazon comics list. So, like I just have
I have one too. So
and like there's some like weird ones that like just I would never think of actually like, putting them in there. And like I was just into it. Rom the robot, dude.
Rom the Space Knight.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, the Space Knight is so weird because I guess I found this out today why the rights are so weird with that because I guess Hasbro like co-created it with Marvel.
Yeah. And
that's why the rights are like always up in the air. But the funny thing is Infinity, which is one of my favorite like Marvel event books, and I've talked to you a lot about it. Sorry, I got like totally distracted by looking at my camera. But in Infinity, the Space Knights appear, but Rom doesn't because they didn't have the rights to Marvel, but they had the rights to the Space Knights.
Yeah, because like the Space Knight mantle is like taken up by other characters.
Yeah,
but yeah, like they released a Rom omnibus, I think, not too long ago.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm like, I'm tempted. Just
sometimes I go on Marvel's website because they actually do publish like basically everything they're gonna print like in like the next 6 months, and it's actually like it's basically the same thing as the I actually have some of them maybe down here, but those like if you go to the comic store, if you go to like a physical comic store, they have like the Marvel Solicitations magazine. I've got one or two somewhere down there.
Yeah, I think I have them like literally right next to me right now.
Because I always get them like it's stupid. It's basically hoarding. But
I can hear you. I'm just being dumb.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's basically hoarding to even get them, but like I do get the solicitation sometimes because I will be honest, there's stuff in the solicitation books that I've seen and bought because of it.
Yeah, there you go.
How was Ultimate Wolverine? Did you read it yet? Oh no, sorry, that's just the solicitation.
Solicitation
I hate that they put the same covers on them.
Sorry,
hold on. Do I have any? Let's see. I think I might have. Yeah, here I have this one. I don't know how old this was. This was my the last Marvel previews I picked up. So that shows you the last time I was in a comic book.
That is a sick. Okay, I'm gonna be weird, but that or annoying, I guess. That's a cool ass cover for probably a terrible book.
West Coast Avengers versus Ultron. Maybe it's good. Who knows?
Yeah.
Is there currently a West Coast Avengers book? I didn't even know that.
I guess so. It looks sick.
Dude, the Avengers are so like interesting as like a property. Because, like, looking into them, they have, like, never been cool. Like, until, like, very recent memory, the Avengers were actually, like, not the cool, like, team that people think that they were.
Are they redoing the Infinity Watch?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I have no idea.
I did see some of the shit, and it's like... Because, like, I think
Infinity Watch is a team now.
It is? Because I have, like, the original fucking...
I think the Infinity Watch is a team now that, like, just goes on adventures. Yeah, Jim Starlin.
Yeah, he was a little too obsessed, I think, with Infinity.
And he loves Thanos and Adam Warlock, dude. That's like his whole thing.
And I don't know. I know like some of that is probably, you write one of the biggest things ever for a certain comic universe, and you're like, oh man, like, I love this. I want to add.
But I don't even think he created Thanos. Is the thing. I think somebody else created Thanos, but he just like took it. He's one of those people, like, there's a lot of stories you hear where, like, somebody creates a character and then somebody else gets to write them and just, like, takes it to the moon.
Yeah, it's like, I don't want to say Todd McFarlane with Venom, but, like, there's still things where he talks about, like, the tongue and everything like that.
Yeah.
And, like...
And that's from an art standpoint, but it's the same thing. Like, he just reinvented the character. I think, honestly, it probably happens with artists a lot more than it does with writers.
Yeah, definitely. I think, and with... I mean, a big thing... I know I was talking earlier about the guy who was fucking jerking off Marvel with a fucking iron grip. But yeah, dude, it was like talking about
Hawkeye is better than Green Arrow. Absolutely not true. I don't even hate Hawkeye, but he's not better than Green Arrow.
Yeah. Green Arrow shot a fucking kryptonite fucking...
But Green Arrow is just a much more interesting character, too.
Yeah.
Hawkeye's just like a bitch.
Yeah. And, I mean, I don't really know, like... I'm not gonna lie, like... Hawkeye, I like don't know his origin at all.
That Green Arrow thing happens in this universe of the book we're talking about today.
But he's like a hunter, right, or something? Or,
Hawkeye?
Yeah.
I don't know Hawkeye's origin either.
I know Green Arrows.
I know he's been an Avenger a lot, and he gets kicked off the team a lot for being a dick.
Yeah, I think he was an assassin or something. Like I think he basically is just fucking the male Natasha. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
I think it's funny how they get grouped together because I don't think Black Widow and Hawkeye have anything to do with each other in the comic. Like originally, like I don't know if they were like ever.
Well, it's just because they're like the two non-powerful people.
That's not true though, because Natasha is a super soldier.
Well, in the comics,
no, I'm pretty sure in the movies, in that Black Widow movie, it's
did she become a super soldier?
It's implying that she has like not like the same powers as Captain America, but she was like experimented on. Like, she's not normal.
Well, I know like in the comics, I'm pretty sure there's like one run where she actually is like a super soldier.
Interesting.
I think it. Call me weird. I think it might be in the fucking DC Marvel crossover that she's a super soldier.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw they just reprinted the Amalgam and DC and Marvel like omnibuses. I wanted them really bad, but I'm sure they're super expensive now.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Hopefully they reprint them again like more recently than not. But anyway, what were we talking about? Graphic novels versus monthlies?
Yeah.
No, that's all good. I love the tangent. So I guess my main hang up with monthlies, I think, because it's like a double-edged sword, where like story-wise, there is some ups. Like you can't really do a cliffhanger in a collected edition unless it's like Volume 1 at the end of Volume 1 going into Volume 2. Like and a lot of people probably wouldn't be planning for that because a lot of collected editions are monthlies.
Mm.
But I feel like cliffhangers just don't really work in collected editions, so that is something you get from like those monthly like issue releases. But I just think
I want to say this to kind of go against that. Is I have read some collected issues that are like halfway through a story and then you end on a cliffhanger before the second book.
Yeah, I was saying you can do it at the end of a first volume, but like it doesn't work on the like moment to moment basis. Like obviously, like it's not on a chapter to chapter basis. I guess you can still do cliffhangers in chapters. I just feel like it kind of loses its luster. But on the other side of that, I think monthly issues also hinder the story a lot, because when you put out a monthly issue and you're making them monthly, even if it takes a month for you to like see it, especially now with the internet, I feel like a lot of writers' visions probably get tainted a lot by like what they see and how they're influenced by the world around them. Instead of like telling a complete story the way they wanted to tell it, which even if it's bad, I'd prefer a complete story the way that somebody wanted to tell it than it being like influenced by other people's opinion. And I've seen that happen with books.
Well, how do you feel about like something like switching? Because I know it's like a big thing. Like, or I'm sorry, I completely got off my train of thought there. My fucking mind just brain dumped.
No, you're good.
I brain dumped what I was gonna say, and I was gonna like quick switch topics because I said it and I like completely forgot. Now I remember. When you're reading a graphic novel, how do you read it? Do you read like if it's like issue based, like something like maybe see that book behind you, Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
If you're reading that, are you gonna read like if it's a multi-issue set, are you gonna read the little?
It depends on how long the chapters or issues are. You know.
Yeah. So that's your big.
I do. Obviously, I'm gonna go by chapters. Like I find those to be good stopping points usually. But I definitely will say if I'm like reading something and I'm like cut for time or something, I will stop just on a page sometimes. Like
interesting.
If I feel like it's a good place to stop. I'm a decently... Yeah. I know you're going to make fun of me for this again. I'm a decently fast reader, though. So, like, if I have, like, 2 minutes, I can probably read to, like, the end of something, but I feel like I'm not absorbing it as much. Because, like, when I'm reading a comic, I do like to... I almost, like, double read over pages a lot of times and stuff, just to, like, get all of it until I move on. But if I'm, like, trying to read quickly, then obviously, like, I'm not absorbing it as much, but I can, like, get to what is, like, the designated stopping points. But I definitely have just thrown a bookmark in books before.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's understandable.
But it also depends. Like, if it's a collection, for me at least, if it's a collection of, like, single issues and not, like, a continued story, then obviously I'm probably going to try and go, like, issue by issue. You know. I don't know. What about you?
I'm pretty... I like to finish an issue, or... My only problem, like, I think Batman, Nightfall, I'm, like, actively reading that one.
I feel that. I'm actively reading a lot of books.
I would like read it before I moved, and I haven't been reading as much since. It's kind of been put to the wayside as I'm reading other things. Yeah. But that like starts off with like two like the 50-page specials. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The long ass specials that you're like, God damn! Like some of this.
Yeah, I mean, like one of those is sitting, like a little trade paperback.
Yeah, and you're like sitting there, and you're like, damn! Like I'm fucking reading, and then I think it starts off with like two of those, 250 issue comics. I'm like, damn, that's a lot of just shit to sit through, and if like, because I'm a person that likes stopping at the end of something.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's like, damn, I like read a whole little fucking arc of something. Let me fucking put the comic down. Maybe there's something else.
It's really also I read till I'm satisfied at the time.
Yeah.
A lot of times. So like if I read the like a 50 issue special and it completed its little arc within itself, I'd probably be satisfied. But if I was reading like I don't know, like a Spider-Man book and it's just like a collection of monthly issues, I'd probably read like 3 of them because like there's probably not that much that happens single issue to single issue.
Yeah, and I
just to get more of a feel for it.
I'd say the thing I was gonna like tangent on before too is like I'm noticing it, and because I know we're gonna talk about this later, but I'm reading Absolute Batman.
Yeah,
and like the one issue is like just completely off. It's like back to like an origin story kind of issue.
It's like a flashback.
Yeah, just in the middle, and I feel like those. I will say for trades, it kind of ruins the
momentum.
Yeah, it kind of ruins the momentum to have like, oh fuck,
and then I feel like I hated it in monthlies though too. I feel like I would prefer it in a trade because in a monthly.
No. Sorry. I meant monthly.
Okay, we're on the same page then. Yeah, I feel like in monthlies it's kind of fucking annoying.
Yeah, in monthlies, like I'm just like sitting there. I'm like, fuck, dude. I'm waiting for this for 2 months now to get like back to the story I was at. So you almost lose your spot.
I think the best way I've ever seen that done. Now I could be wrong that this is the way it was done, but at least from reading the trades, this is what I gathered. Gunslinger Spawn, which I have like the first 3 volumes of.
Mm-hmm.
Todd would do I think Todd was writing it at the time, but whoever was writing it would do the backups. So like a shorter, like maybe like 5 or 6 page thing of his like origin, of like his time in the 1800s, and then the main book would be like what was going on in the moment in universe, which I think is a really cool way to do. Like if you're gonna do flashbacks like that, you should do it as like the backup. Yeah, where it's like an origin flashback. If it's a flashback that like means something to the story you're telling, like in that moment, obviously that works. But if you're gonna like go back to an origin of a character we're following, I feel like you should do that in backups or like in its own book.
Or you know what's something like, if it can just be written down like quick short, just put it in the comic, like put it in the active run, but then put it at like the end of a page, or put the end of the issue.
That's what I'm saying. Like in the backup of the issue, like.
Oh, you're saying
like in the sometimes I thought you were saying like sometimes monthlies like especially annuals will have like a little backup in the back. Like that's what I'm saying. Like that's how.
Okay, I thought you were saying like a backup comic issue. I don't know.
No. In a backup is like in the back of the monthly. It's like a little shorter.
I'm not as versed as you on the comic lingo.
No, it's okay. I'm a nerd loser. But yeah, so like a backup would be like a 6-page thing at the end of your issue instead. Yeah. Which I think for like an origin thing that works way better. Or like do what Scott Snyder, who's writing that, does, even though maybe he doesn't want to do this again. But in his original Batman run, his New 52 run, he made the origin just its own arc. Which I think actually works, because it's like, oh, we've been following this character in the present time, and then we take a breather for like a while. Like arcs full of breather to his origin. Mm-hmm. Like I actually think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and I do like I do love when an arc goes for a while, but also like I think and I will say this is one thing I'll give monthlies is sometimes I don't think monthlies exactly work in a trade. Like a one shot, some one shots are just fucking entertaining as shit.
Yeah,
and they are good comic moments, and that's like a big thing with Todd McFarlane Spider-Man. That I think you'll see when you're like just reading that. Like that shit really doesn't need to be in its own book.
Yeah, I have not started it yet, but I'm getting there.
If it's not Todd McFarlane, like only his stuff, like it doesn't make sense to put this all in a book. But it's an enjoyable run to me. I know maybe some people have different opinions on it, but I know maybe we'll talk about this.
I don't know. I flipped through it. The art is amazing, as kind of expected. It's like perfect. So I'm really excited to read it. I think people probably give it a little more shit than it deserves. Also, because like Spawn is not the best written comic in the world, but Todd is not a bad writer by any means. He's a little bit convoluted in his writing, I think, and he tries to be like super edgy, especially in his 90s stuff, like his early stuff. But like, I don't think he's a bad writer. But we'll see. I'm gonna read it. I when we talk about it later, when we tease, well, I guess we're teasing it right now, but we're gonna talk about that Todd McFarlane Spider-Man collection soon. Anyway, we have a lot to say. I have a lot to say about it already, and I haven't even read it yet.
Yeah,
I'll save it for the episode. Do you have any closing thoughts about the topic, though?
Not too much. I guess I never really like said what I prefer. I guess I do prefer graphic novels and trades over just because I can.
But is it like a big prefer, or is it like right here? You know what I mean?
It's honestly, yeah, it's like just slightly prefer. Monthlies are fun to read. They're fucking expensive though.
That's what I wanted to talk about. That is where I think the real problem with monthlies come in, is that it's kind of a scam, especially if you're going to release a collected edition of them.
Yeah.
Because, like, especially a lot of these, like, top-of-the-line books, like, they're, like, big-name books, dude, they're, like, $4.99 now. Like, if monthlies were 90 cents, I'd be like, sure.
I think Superman, because I'm also reading Superman, yes. Look at that, dude. I don't know, you can't read that. It's $5.99.
$5.99? Now, was that issue 1?
No, it's this issue...
So that's its normal price?
Here, let's see. Issue 1. You know what? Okay, no, this is a variant cover. So I guess it's $5.99, guys. $4.99 usually. But even $5.99 for a variant cover? And you're telling me, like, some of these...
I don't even know why a variant cover needs to be more money.
No, I don't think it used to be.
I don't think it was either. Maybe I could be wrong. I'm sure there are some variants, like if you pull like crazy artists, like if they got like Todd McFarlane to draw a Spider-Man cover, they would probably be like, "Oh, sure, we'll throw $1 on for it or something."
Yeah, because it's like collectible. And I don't know if it's just because they're trying to make this absolute like universe be super collectible and.
Super collectible, but here's what I would say. That's bad business in my opinion. This is a new universe you're trying to launch. That should be $1 cheaper than all the other books.
I don't know, you say that, but the people are eating that shit up. Like, it's
no, people
sold
are
out.
eating it up, but do you think more people wouldn't be eating it up if it was $1 cheaper than the main books? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, if you're really trying to sell something, don't... I don't know.
I think what they do is, like, they know Batman's going to sell.
Yeah.
And they say, hey, Batman's in this, because I think Batman started a month earlier than
I mean, Batman does pay the bills. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing Batman for our first episode.
And it started up, it started a month earlier than Absolute Superman. It's a month ahead. I don't know about Absolute Wonder Woman. I haven't got to read that yet. I think there's
judging by how Wonder Woman books usually do, probably not that good.
No, it's sold out. Like at my
really?
comic, like
that's good.
Every issue's been sold out.
I like Wonder Woman, so
holy shit, like it's cool. And then I think there's an Absolute Martian Manhunter coming out too.
Mm-hmm. I'm super interested in that. The art looks gorgeous.
Yeah, so I'm kind of interested. And that, but yeah, just like trades overall, like it's just insane that I'm paying. Let's say I want to read all 4 of the Absolute things. Like I was gonna read a G.I. Joe comic. I haven't even read it yet. It's just sitting over there waiting for it to be read because I was like, shit, if I want to read Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, and Absolute Wonder Woman, let's say I want to read those 3. That's $15. If I want to read Martian Manhunter, $20.
Yeah,
that's if I can get there on day 1 and get the issues that are $5 and not like reorders that are this is a variant cover that's $6 now.
Yeah. No, I think monthlies are honestly just a fucking scam. I don't even care. Like, there is something about monthlies too, about like being in the moment with other people who are reading and like the conversation. If you're interested in like the social media conversation, which I guess I do care about because we're making a podcast about it. But our podcast is about kind of the medium itself. It's not really about like the moment to moment social media conversation. Not yet. But like I don't need to be in that. I just like to read it and enjoy it. And so if I have to wait until fucking December to pick up Absolute Batman Volume 1, I'd rather do that, me personally. Because also, it's just a financial thing. Like, going and paying... Unless there was something I was, like, super, super into. And that's why I do kind of want to jump into Absolute and see. Because if it's really good, I'll jump into it. But, like, I was following even Ultimate Spider-Man, which I think is really great. But even that, I just couldn't, like, justify keeping up with. And, like, Spawn, like, I feel like... at least McFarlane, but, like, Image in general, they put out pretty good trade paperbacks. All my Spawn stuff is, like, really nice. To be honest. Yeah. So, like, I'm cool, like, read it. I've Spawned 350, like, big issues like that, I will, like, jump on if I think it's really cool, but I think overall, I'm definitely in the graphic novel, trade paperback realm for readability, for price, and all that stuff. And sound off in the comments, please let us know what you think. I'd love to hear other people's thoughts and opinions. I'm never going to, like, completely shoo off monthlies, but, and the last thing I wanted to say was, there is a world, and this would never happen, but like that I think would be cool is if these companies took maybe a page out of the like Manga World's book, and instead of publishing single issues, they published like big magazines, and there would be like at Marvel there'd be like a Spider-Man magazine and an X-Men magazine and an Avengers magazine that had the team and then all of the other main Avengers characters' books in it, and these would be like monthly subscriptions or yearly subscriptions, and they would come monthly, and you could get all of these stories for a more reasonable price and support the company actively. Like, I think that model is way more fair to the consumer and way more interesting. And also, it's like I feel like you would discover so much more stuff. Like I would probably never pick up like a She-Hulk book, but if I was subscribed to the Avengers magazine and it was the last chapter in the magazine was the She-Hulk issue for that month, I would probably read it. You know?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I think there's a world where that model works really well, especially as these like this medium is like kind of teetering on like not existing anymore.
Yeah.
So even though they always say that the comic industry is going to die, and then it just doesn't because they're backed by huge conglomerate corporations, but
I do want to say like a big one for me is like some of these comics. I know we're talking about like saying like, hey, like these weird comics that you think like probably die because like who's reading? Like I know a video that doesn't exist. I mentioned fucking Justice League America, like the fucking
Justice League United.
Or Justice League United, sorry, not
Justice League America, dude.
Justice League United. Sorry. But yeah,
we need the Justice League America right now.
This is something I fucking got at Ollie's, which, I mean, Ollie's is all around the fucking nation. And they release, like, some of these that aren't big, and just because DC pumps these out, unlike Marvel, like, you can really only find DC books now at fucking
last time I was at Ollie's, only DC. There was no Marvel books. Like, I'm serious when I say no more books. And DC also publishes, like, a lot of, like, other books that aren't superhero books, too.
Yeah. And I will say, like, this, $5. All right? I bought this for $5.
Yeah, dude, all my Ollie stuff is great. That Superman collection, and I don't think I talked about it in this episode, only in the Forgotten episode. But I got that Man of Steel, like, John Byrne collection. Yeah. I think it's, like, the 3rd volume, but it's just a bunch of, like, single issues from that era. Like, that was, like, I'm pretty sure that ran me, like, $6 or $7. And it's, like, a hefty book. I'd pull it off, but I'm sitting here, so.
Yeah, no, you're... but yeah, just, like, something like that for $5. And I enjoyed the fuck out of the comic, so I'm like, cool, let me check out this writer, and maybe I'll talk about them later, this episode. But, like, that kind of stuff, and then I'm finding something new, and then, of course, I hated the 2nd volume of it, so that kind of sucked. But, like, just finding something new in that...
Doesn't the writer change in the 2nd volume, though?
No, I think it's still...
Or is it the art that changed? I thought you told me something changed.
Yeah, I think it's the art or something. I mean, I could look, but it's...
No,
Too far.
But yeah, I also think the big comic publishers, and this is going to be a really controversial thing to say to the comic book community, need to... I'm not saying they stop caring about comic stores, because I do think it's important to have them. They need to stop, like, over-prioritizing comic stores over, like, other markets. Because they do. And because they have, like, all these deals and connections with comic stores, and like, these, like physical comic retailers, which are important. Those things will still exist even if the companies move to things that are better for the consumer. Because I'm sorry, at least at this point where we're at in society, it is not better for the consumer at like most of these comic stores.
It's also like hard to get. Like manga started to move into like big retailers now. That was like,
and that's another reason manga is murdering comics, because they refuse to push their stuff into big retailers, which would be really easy for DC and Marvel.
Yeah, and I don't even think, like...
And Image! I mean, Image can put stuff in...
Honestly, what you could also do, make some of your trades. Just, 5 issues have come out of it? Let's make a trade of it. Drop that in Target. As soon as, like, those 5
and
issues
finish up... And have the comic
up,
publishers be for monthlies. I agree, yeah.
Yeah, and then you're just like, oh, cool. We have
that Batman Universe book, the Brian Michael Bendis one, from DC, was originally, like, a Walmart exclusive book. Like, they need to do that stuff more. Because that is at least catching people to go get comics, and where are you going to get them? At a comic book store, obviously.
Yeah.
Or and I think it's even also if it's not a comic book store, now a lot of them are like collectible stores, but they're comic book stores.
Yeah. And I hate to say it because I don't think they would ever do this because Image is so pro comic book store.
Yes.
But like I think if Image or Dark Horse or somebody like broke into that, like they would be fucking getting even closer to Marvel or DC. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do think it would help a smaller publisher like really break out, especially if they had properties that they were trying to push. It doesn't even have to be superheroes, but I think like if they wanted to push their own superheroes, or like if Valiant tried to like come back and make a name for themselves again, I think a good thing would be like try and like push superhero comics, because I'm sure that big retailers would be like, oh, superhero comic books, sure, we'll fucking sell those.
Yeah,
I mean maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm not Johnny Business, so
yeah, and maybe they've tried this thing in the past and we don't know it. I don't know. You know, maybe with
we're just two dumbasses
Walmart run.
Internet.
Maybe with that like Brian Brian Michael Bendis run though. Maybe they did that and they're like, "Well, this didn't sell that good,"
Yeah.
or something like that.
They sold them in trades. I think they were never single issues. They were always like full.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I was saying is like to put the active issues in trades, like they do with manga. But
yeah, I agree. I agree. Taking notes from the manga world, which is currently murdering even in the like United States, the American comics like universe. I think they really need to start taking more notes and applying them to their businesses. Or Warner Brothers and Disney one day are going to be like.
I want to mention one last thing before we switch over to our
sure,
our book is I don't know about you, but honestly, I also feel like Marvel is like a big one of this, and I think DC does it too. I want to say DC does it as well, but like this kind of book, like how the cover is, the matte covers, they need to do that more with fucking like every comic company needs to do that shit.
Yeah,
I hate having the fucking shiny ass covers that look like shit. Yeah, like even some like Marvels, like this shit looks like you can't see it, but it looks like ass. Like there's scrapes on it, there's like scratches, and I look at my Batman Year One stuff, and like that comic looks.
Dude, that Todd McFarlane Spider-Man that I just bought is already dinged up just from shipping.
Yeah, and then I have something like
Batman I got around the same time. It's in perfect condition.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like this shit looks nice.
I even told you, even the printing quality of the pages in this book. I even said that when I got it. Like, I think the printing quality is so nice, and of course they'll do that for Batman Year One. Like this printing quality in this Batman Year One, because I believe we have the same print. Yeah. This is what comic books feel like. And then you get those gross glossy prints, which I guess are probably a little bit better, like for like longevity. But like, I want it to feel like a comic book in these books, because that's what I'm reading. I don't know.
Yeah, and even
it also looks better. I feel like it, like especially in some of these like backup stuff with like the sketches and stuff, you can really tell. But I think it's in everything. Like it even looks better. It looks like a better book.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's like art style, like too, because like
that just looks like a comic book. I don't know.
Like I was talking about, this is a comic. This is probably one of my longest owned comics. And other than like the crease, just wear. Like of course, like the creases are gonna wear here.
Yeah.
But like this looks better than most books I have, just because it's got this matte cover and like. The pages aren't. I mean, they're a little glossy. They're not like the most. They're like a nice, almost like a nice glossy, not too crazy. But it's just like the nice where it like sticks to my fingers a little bit.
Yeah,
like just like a normal comic.
Oh, I love when it sticks to my fingers.
Yeah, just so I can actually grab the fucking page.
You like a sticky magazine.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Speaking of a sticky magazine, Batman Year One, which is our book of the episode. Let's just say book of the month for now, because I think we're going to do monthly episodes.
Yeah.
So until that changes, this is the book of the month, Batman Year One. Starting in the next episode, you can read along if you want, and we'll announce the next book after. But let's get into Batman Year One. I'm going to let you. Quick.
Before we do this, actually, like, fuck, I don't.
Are you pausing the recording, or are you just talking?
We don't have to pause. I got to take a shit.
Okay, hold on. Let me just pause the recording.
All right, then give me a countdown.
All right, where's the pause button? I don't even...
Next to stop recording.
Why isn't my pause button showing up? What the fuck? Oh my god. Pause button is not working, bro.
All right, then I'll fucking...
You just keep recording?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. We'll just fucking cut this out.
No.
I'll keep... My stomach feels fine now.
Are you
I was getting like my fucking balls were tightening up, so IBS shit going on. You know what I mean?
No, if you want to
include this, no, I'm good. I'm good.
All right, we're gonna start the Batman topic again. I'm gonna let you take this one.
Okay.
So, hold on. All right, I'm gonna do a 3, 2, 1. We're gonna count in.
Yeah.
All right. 3, 2. You're still recording, right?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Okay, so. I guess we're moving on to Batman Year One now, and since I took the main topic, I'm going to let you give your initial thoughts. I know you've been itching to talk about it, so tell me your like general thoughts, your kind of review and ideas about Batman Year One.
Batman. Yeah, it's an interesting book. I will say,
overhyped. Sorry, not the cut.
No, you're good. Yeah, I do think it's a little overhyped. I mean, it's a like fun, simple issue of Batman. My main problem is there's like not a lot of payoff in it, in my opinion. There's like a lot of stuff that happens, but first of all, when you're saying it's an origin, it's not really almost an origin. It's just like a early telling of Batman.
Yeah, it's just like Batman like day 300.
Yeah,
or no, I
it's
guess
like, okay, like
it's Batman like day 1.
Yeah, but he's already done all his fucking training and shit like that. Like he's already who he is. He's fucking dealt with the fucking League of Shadows and everything. Like this is him on his first day as Batman. With there's no crime because like the big thing that I think is always the thing in comics is the crime always matches the
Yeah, I mean, there's crime, but it's like normal crime. It's not like super crime or anything. And he's kind of like a shithead in this. But what I have to say about it that I think kind of just like colors the whole thing for me is like it's really a Gordon book. It's not really a Batman book at all.
Yeah,
it's like Gordon's. It's interesting. Like it's a good concept. It's Gordon's perspective of Batman's origin.
Yeah,
which is
almost like
cool. But I don't like that's not Batman's origin though.
Yeah, it's almost like I guess I don't know. This is how I assume it is. I've never read it. I've not read it yet. But Marvel's, I know it's like takes place. It's like a photographer, like going over these big moments in that. That's almost what this book feels like. It's an outside source like going in here.
Yeah, it feels
and like it's mainly a Gordon. Like there's
Gordon relationship. It.
Yeah, and there's Gordon relationship issues. Is like half the book, and
do you have 2 copies
Gordon dealing with corruption.
Wait. Do you have 2 copies?
No.
Oh, I thought you like held up another copy of something and you're like,
no, I passed it. I passed it under.
I thought you like held up a copy of it and then you like held up another copy of it.
No, I just have this issue, but I just passed it over because I'm like, this is like the more empty side of my screen.
Yeah.
But I keep showing it like, oh yeah, this is the book.
What's your take on the writing of the book and like how it's written? Because I think that is the strongest part for me.
Yeah, I think it's written well. I do have to say I hate the cursive stuff. I swear to God,
it's just really hard to read. It's not even that I don't understand it because I understand it. Like I can read it. It's just really straining on the eyes to read.
Yeah, and my only problem with it is I feel like and I know it's always gonna be a thing with Batman early on. It's like the idea that he is a vigilante.
Yeah.
So like the whole thing deals more with him being a bad guy in this universe,
right?
More than like he stops like. I'm trying to think like other than like the 5 kids he stops like stealing a TV, how many actual criminals does he stop in this? And how much is it just him being?
He really just beats up the police, which there's nothing wrong with that. They are assholes, but it's just really them hunting for him. He saves Gordon's baby, I guess, but does he beat those guys up? He does beat those guys up.
Oh yeah. So yeah, his baby gets kidnapped. I'm pretty sure just by the police.
Yeah, so he's just it's a Batman fighting the police, which is fine, and it makes sense. But it's also we don't see him Batmaning.
I'm also being dumb because I literally just looked at this page. He also fights Falcone.
Oh yeah, he does fight it. It's very brief though. It's almost like a montage of like the first week of Batman.
Yeah,
it feels like the intro. Really it feels like the intro to the first year of Batman. Like it feels like Batman like month 1.
Call me crazy, and I know people probably hate this.
Even though I know it is structured in the course of a year, by the way. I'm not like, I did read the fucking book.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, what it feels like is like a very brief, and I think it's because it's told from like a super outside perspective.
Yeah, and
which is a cool way to write. It's a cool way to write Batman, but I don't know if it's Batman's like definitive origin, because it has nothing about his origin. It has him coming back to Gotham and becoming Batman.
Yeah, I also like... I used to see the origin of Batman, not the origin of Bruce Wayne becoming Batman.
Right, true, sure.
If you want to say it
it's really the Gordon origin, though, as well.
Yeah.
But I do like how it parallels Gordon and Batman's origin and sets up their relationship. That is a really cool, like, thing in this book that I did really enjoy. And I won't say, like, Gordon's story is great. It's just a Gordon story, though. It's not really a Batman story. It's like a cop story for a lot of it, which is cool.
And him being a dirtbag husband.
Yeah, he is a piece of shit. But he's a good man deep down. He just makes mistakes.
Yeah.
It's true, though.
I mean, when was this book actually written? I think
in the 80s.
80s?
I think after
86?
It's after The Dark Knight Returns, I believe, because I think it's Frank Miller's like next like big thing. I do like that Frank Miller doesn't draw this. I'll be honest. I'm not a huge Frank Miller art fan.
I don't mind. I don't mind Dark Knight Returns.
I really, really like Mazzucchelli's art. There are some.
I think some spots like it's very 50s style comics.
It's very retro, but I think that was on purpose because this was the 80s. Like they were already like getting into that kind of 90s like hyper detail. I think it's on purpose, and I think it works really well, and it's like very tasteful.
I think some of the shots are almost reminiscent of
like classic, and like using the 9-panel grids and stuff too. I think really like evokes that as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say also it really reminds me of something like Sin City.
Yeah, the way he uses shadow in this is really amazing though, and I think that's obviously like the real standout. Like pages like this. I mean, this is like a famous page from this, but like where he breaks into the dinner. Like, I mean, that's
that and like that's like the big thing with.
I think though,
Batman is
the coloring is what really takes it. Like, I think the coloring kind of really elevates the art, because the art is like very like kind of retro and simplistic in some ways.
Yeah,
but I think the coloring takes it to like new heights. And I don't know, this printing, like obviously different printings will probably have like different coloring because they like to touch things up. But this printing, at least that I have, which I assume is just kind of the modern standard of it, amazing colors. They look great.
I do also love that this is actually like feels like it takes place before probably the original Batman comics. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this feels like it could take place, like, the parts like this where it's like, oh shit, this dude's using fucking...
Yeah, like, it could be the fucking 30s.
Like, yeah, this could be a fucking 30s.
Even though they use, like, cell phones, like, not cell phones, but they have, like 80s phones, like, telephones and stuff. So some of the technology takes it out. What it is for me, though, that I think it is similar to is, like, the animated series, where it could kind of take place in any time period, because they, like, have computers, but also it looks like Art Deco.
I guess they have M16s too, which is not very 30s like. I guess it gives me like very 50s style too, honestly.
Yeah,
but like there's some stuff I don't really care for the Catwoman origin in this book. It's like kind of whatever.
I mean,
I can see this is definitely where the Catwoman from the new Batman movie came from.
I think this is where a lot of people's idea of Catwoman comes from, though, because she is kind of like all of the like other pop culture media of Catwoman. The only thing they know about her is that she was a prostitute and a thief.
Yeah,
and then the shaved head thing is like a big Catwoman thing too.
Yeah,
I feel like they just take that from it. Even though the costume that she wears in this, which is also like very similar to like the Long Halloween costume, they never like reference that costume. She's always got like the sexy modern like black costume on, not her like dumb costume where she literally is in like a cat costume.
Yeah, who wants that though?
I want that. That's hilarious.
I mean, maybe.
It'd be very fun.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's entertaining.
Speaking of the movies though, I do see where a lot of the influences in the Dark Knight movies and the Batman come from. Now, I actually think reading this, the Batman, like the Matt Reeves one, is way less influenced than people like say it is. At least in my opinion.
So I think the main thing about it is it's very street level, and also him getting his like
ass kicked.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff. Like him just getting his ass kicked.
Him not being like a god. Him not being like Tower of Babel Batman, where he knows everything about everybody.
Or even like, I mean, I'm trying to think of like Dark Knight, like that whole trilogy. Like, really, the only part I can think of, like when he gets his ass like kicked, was like the is it beginning of 2 when he gets like no beginning of 3 when like the fake Batmans come.
Yeah,
and then he
3.
fucking gets like bit. Like that's the only thing I can think of. Like there's parts in this where he just like gets his ass kicked. He gets like shot multiple times.
That's true.
If
I guess
that any DNA testing, he'd probably be fucked.
Yeah. Also, what the fuck? Like, how do they not have Batman's DNA at this point?
That's the whole thing I've like thought of. Like when I'm reading this multiple times, I'm just like, dude, he bleeds so much everywhere.
Yeah,
multiple times.
Though Gotham is a dirty city, and also if he like leads them off the trail, but I don't know.
I don't know if the viewers just saw that.
Also,
just fucking loose lip that shit.
I wasn't paying attention.
Poured out the side. It's pretty awesome.
But yeah, so that's the art, the story. What is your your rating? Like, where would you place this? You can do out of 10, you can do out of 5. We don't have a standard on our shows, so
I'd give it a like 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I
don't think
I'd give it like a 7.
I personally think I enjoyed the basis of the story, just comparing to other Frank Miller comics. I'm like Dark Knight Returns. I think I like this slightly less personally.
Yeah,
I think the story in that's like more fun. To me, this is like very like serious tone. There's not a lot of like. It doesn't feel like a superhero comic. It feels like a vigilante comic almost.
Well, it's almost like a detective story, which is cool. It's not there's no mystery, so it's not really a detective story. It's just like a cop story.
Yeah, it's
with
really
a crazy
weird.
guy. I do like honestly, the like subtle references to Batman. Sorry if you just heard that motorcycle drive by the way. That was really fucking loud. But it also really, I like the like small digs at the fact that Batman is like kind of a psychopath.
Yeah.
Like Alfred like says at one point, I can't pull the exact quote, but Alfred like says at some point he like calls him crazy basically.
That's also one thing I will say. First of all, I kind of hate the this is why I'm coming Batman part. Oh, a fucking bat flew through my window. First of all, I don't think a bat could break glass. I don't think.
It's a sign from the universe, though.
Yeah.
Well, and actually, in more modern comics, I think that they explain that it's like the evil bat god from like Dark Knight's Metal or whatever.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Which is awesome. Badass. Barbatos, I believe, is his name.
That's terrible.
Dude, we have to do Dark Knight's Metal at some point.
I actually want to do that because I know it is like super like metal.
That'll be on the. I think the next Batman book will probably be Long Halloween. To be honest,
I've never read it, so
I love Long Halloween. So that's a book I have read and I love.
So so the weird thing I will say, the weird thing about these first two episodes is I've read these books and you have not read these books. For of course we were talking about doing Spider-Man, Todd McFarlane Spider-Man next. I've read that and I've read this, and then of course the Lost episode was something else which I read and he never read.
Now I've read half of it.
He's read half of it.
Yeah, we're going to do that episode eventually. But, so, I guess we're talking about it now. Next episode, if you want to read along, we're going to do Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man. This is just the Amazon, like, most recent published Marvel collection. I will say this. I do think we're going to cut out the X-Force stuff out of the back, because I just don't give a fuck. Like, at all.
I also refuse to read it, because it's sideways.
Because the, like, perspective change. So, we're going to read all of the just Spider-Man Todd McFarlane stuff. So, I think it's, like, 3 arcs.
Yeah, 3 or 4.
It's like the Wolverine team up and the Wendigo, which is the last one, and then it's like Ghost Rider, and then
Killer Croc. There's a Ghost Rider one.
No, the Lizard. It's not Killer Croc. Yeah. We've had this conversation a million
Batman,
times.
Dude.
They are very similar.
Okay, I will say. I'm sorry. I'm gonna pull this up. I know we're talking about this next time. This fucking is like the meanest lizard I've ever seen in the comics. I will say that.
No,
that's the only thing I'm going to say about it.
The art in that book looks fucking amazing. So even if the story is like pretty mid, I'm still probably going to really enjoy it. Also, I'm just really excited to jump into like reading some just like normal Spider-Man. Because like it's very hard to find, I think, in the modern Spider-Man stuff because they're always trying to do weird ass shit with him. And even Ultimate Spider-Man is just like it's just not quite there because he's like 30. Hasn't had his powers for that long. It's a different thing. It's good, but it's a different thing. So I'm excited to just jump in and read some like Spider-Man where he's just being Spider-Man.
So other than of course Year One and this upcoming Spider-Man you're about to read, what have you been reading otherwise?
I've honestly been reading more manga than comics. I've been reading through the Naruto manga. I'm just about to be finished with Volume 1. So I know I'm not reading through it very fast, but I have a bunch of the volumes back there because
fast reader, huh?
Oh my fucking god, dude. By not reading through it fast, I mean like I haven't been picking it up a lot, but it's just because I've been doing a lot of shit. And then I have the first like 2 volumes of the JJK manga, so 0 and 1, and I just started reading 1. Maybe eventually I'll talk about them on the channel because I did that Kagurabachi review, but I'm going to be reading the next volume of Kagurabachi when it comes out in early February, so that's like on my list of things to read. Obviously I'm going to read Todd McFarlane Spider-Man. And then I want to jump back into monthlies. I just haven't gotten to the comic book store lately, and I would like to check out some of the Absolute stuff. I occasionally like pick something up. That Superman collection because it's just like random issues. I like read an issue every now and then. The first issue in there is about Superman and Batman fighting a vampire. It's actually kind of fun. Okay. Like it's just like a fun like random thing. Batman murders the vampire too, like because vampires are magic. I guess Superman is weak to them, and the vampire's like she's like attacking Superman, and then Batman just comes up and stakes her through the heart. So I guess vampires don't count.
Hell yeah,
Batman. Whatever. I like that everybody who writes Batman is like slightly different about his rule. Like sometimes he will not kill anything, but sometimes it's like robots, vampires, aliens, subhumans. Yeah, it doesn't matter, dude. Batman will murder them.
Dude, I was watching this video today of like the like worst Batman villains, and dude, half of them are like, oh, he just killed this guy. I was like, what the fuck? Like half of them are just like.
I mean, not saying the thing is, Batman does kill people occasionally, 100%. Yeah. Even if they don't say it, I think the funniest example is like the Arkham games. Like in Arkham Origins, you can like slam a guy's head into like an electrical box and electrocute him. I'm like, that guy is fucking dead. Yeah. There is no way he's alive.
Yeah, I know we are talking about this in the Indiana Jones episode. I don't think it's out yet on Two Guys One Game. Check that out on Boss Nasty YouTube. Little plug there.
Yeah, you're good.
But we were talking about Zack Snyder, or not? Yeah, Zack Snyder. Sorry, I was thinking Scott Snyder for a second. I was thinking Scott Snyder because I was about to bring this up because we were talking about.
No, Scott Snyder is the good Batman writer.
We'll talk about Scott Snyder in a second. But
Zack Snyder, you told me that Zack Snyder, I guess, in an interview said that
on Joe Rogan,
I wanted to change. The one thing about Batman is that he doesn't kill people. I was like, that's dumb. I want to change that.
Yeah, I don't know if we could throw a clip in without getting fucking copyrighted.
I could probably find the clip.
Yeah, if you can find the clip, just throw it in there. If
I find the clip, I'll put it in. But that's the dumbest thing ever. Like, you get the chance to write Batman, and the first thing is like, he's gonna kill people when I write.
Yeah.
It's like the two things about Batman. His parents are dead, and he doesn't kill people. Even though, I will say, there are some interpretations that Batman just doesn't use guns, that I think that is okay, because, like, clearly he fucking kills people. I think it's a funnier idea that Batman says that he doesn't kill people, and then just does it constantly. Like, and just constantly is just, like, killing, like, no-name, like, grunt stuff. I think that's way funnier, but I can see the interpretation that he just doesn't use guns. But Zack Snyder still fucked that up because his Batman, like, shoots machine guns at people and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild.
I could also be okay with, like, a Batman like that who has, like, seen a bunch of shit and is really seasoned to just be like, I'm killing people now.
Yeah, but I think the problem is, like, he tries doing that because it's, like, Robin's dead.
Well, but I'm saying I could see, like, the Apocalypse Batman doing that. Like, after Darkseid takes over and stuff, or, like, the world is fucked. Like, I could see, like, a Mad Maxy Batman killing people.
Yeah.
But normal Gotham City Batman, it just doesn't make sense.
What is that? I know there's, like, that Scott Snyder Batman that's, like, is almost a Mad Maxy kind of Batman.
It's probably just something from Metal. To be honest.
I don't know. I just know somebody was bitching about it and then said it was, like, one of the greatest comics ever. I do want to talk about...
Yeah, what were you reading?
This though, just because we're talking about vampires. I haven't finished it yet, but I did just start reading this American Vampire. Originally, I guess I didn't realize that instead of because Vertigo doesn't exist anymore. I mean, now it exists again, but I didn't realize like apparently this was originally a Vertigo thing, but now it's DC Black Label.
Well, Black Label Vertigo became Black Label, and now they're bringing Vertigo back.
Yeah, I didn't realize they took all the like. I think I know.
Is this so? They reprinted Vertigo books with Black Label on them.
Yeah. Like, I think... Well,
keep that printing, then, because that might become rare when they start reprinting Vertigo again.
Yeah, I can't remember which other one I was... Oh, yeah. My Doom... I already had this out. Yeah, my Doom Patrol's the exact same way. This is a Vertigo comic, and it's DC Black Label.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I'd rather just say Vertigo, be retro.
Yeah.
Like, I do like... own Vertigo.
I do like the DC brought their old logo back. Because it's way better than, like, the page-turning, like, modern logo.
Well, I think this is the modern logo right now.
Oh, yeah, that's better than the one they had. During the New 52...
But then the new logo is the DC Stars one.
Yeah, it's the Bullet logo is what they call it, I guess. That's their best logo, so I don't know why they ever got rid of that, but...
Yeah, this comic's super interesting so far. I wasn't expecting... Because I know... So it's written by Scott Snyder and Stephen King, but all of it's drawn by Raphael Albuquerque.
Yeah.
Who's does some pretty good art.
How much does Stephen King involve, do you know?
Oh, he does. It's one issue of Scott Snyder, one issue by Stephen King. So it's like,
okay.
Yeah, it's like the origins of the vampires in this world is all Stephen King. And
that's super cool. That's really cool.
So that's usually when we're talking about trade paperbacks versus graphic novels. That's like one thing I want to talk about because I was like, I don't know how that released. If that released like American Vampire Scott Snyder and then American Vampire Stephen King, like, or if it was releasing at the same time, who knows? Yeah. But,
well, how is it in the trade? Because that might be how it released.
Yeah, it is one Scott Snyder, one Stephen King.
Yeah, that would make the most sense, I think, right? Because you want to have that Stephen King pull, but you also want Scott to get... Because it's probably his, like, idea, like, his project.
Yeah. But it's pretty cool, because it's very, like, Stephen King. It's like a dude back in, like, the 1800s, I think, who's, like, writing a novel.
Yeah.
Or who wrote a novel about vampires. And it's, like, based on a true story about seeing vampires, so it's kind of cool to, like... go back and forth and be about like this original story that he's writing about, and then in the modern day, like they reference that story, I think too.
That's cool.
Or like
that is really cool. That's a cool way to do a collaboration.
Yeah, it like takes place in 1925, so like part of it takes place in that time, as like the author's like older.
Yeah.
He's like an old man now, and he's like talking about his book. So it's pretty unique and cool. And then the other one I read was because I was talking about this author earlier, Jeff. I don't know if it's Lemire.
Jeff Lemire, I believe is how you say it.
Yeah. So I started reading Black Hammer. Very, very cool comic. I love the some of the stuff on here. Like, I know it apes kind of like a lot of comics, and it's trying to be like that. I don't want to say because it's like not aping to be like that edgier comic. Like, it has edgy moments in it, but it's not like trying to be like, it's not trying to be The Boys or something like that.
Did he write Justice League United?
Yes.
Do you see a lot of that like crossover with him as a writer? You think that's why he draws you in?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it reminds me a lot of like that's just like entertaining like modern comics, like that's entertaining superheroes, and this is things like entertaining like deeper story kind of thing.
Yeah,
because it's all about like these superheroes who were like, I don't know. It's super cool. Every superhero has like their own origin, and it'll be like in the pages, and they're super unique and cool, even though they're based on like other people. Like they have their Martian Manhunter guy, they have their Shazam, which is like a girl. And she's like reverse Shazam too, because she ages outside of being Shazam, and then when she becomes like her Shazam character, she's like a kid the whole time.
Weird.
So she'd be like, yeah, it's like a weird thing, and like as she becomes older, she becomes sick of being that character because like she doesn't want to be
cool.
a
That's
child
a cool
anymore.
idea. That makes sense.
And then they have like the one guy, Abraham Slam, which is like the leader of the team at the time.
Yeah.
Who's like their Captain America. Like he tries joining the war, and he like he's not allowed in because he's too scrawny and shit.
Yeah.
But he ends up just working out and becoming like a really strong guy and a really good boxer. And then so he just throws on a superhero suit and like becomes a superhero. He doesn't get superhero suit like serum or anything, but it's really cool because you see he's like the oldest one there.
Yeah.
So by the time like the shit happens that like causes them to basically there's like a big event that causes them to teleport to this different world where they are now, and they can't leave there. It's like a pocket dimension.
Yeah.
And like up to that, it's like they find themselves in a like almost end of the world situation where like they need any superhero they can get because like 9% of superheroes are dead.
Yeah.
So they call them in, and basically Abraham Slam comes in, and he's like 50 or something at this point. He has no powers, and there's all these superheroes have powers and stuff like that. So he's like an aging superhero who like every time he goes out to stop a crime at this point, all these other heroes are coming up and be like, oh shit, we have to save you. So he's like a fading superhero at this point who's not good for anything because he's not a power guy.
Yeah.
So he's basically just like, nobody wants you.
So is he just old? Is that like his like gimmick, or does he get powers or something?
No, he's just old and he's like the team leader, but he comes back at the end and he's like the thing that like kind of like glues the team together. Do you know what I mean? Like he's like the guy, he's like, we need every superhero we can get to beat this fucking entity. And they're like, so we need you too. Like, you've always been one. I know we've like said you can't do anything, but like we need you for this.
Yeah, like,
so it's kind of like a cool thing.
We put you in the timeout room, but you know what? You can be a part of this one.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool to see is like
does it kind of like take the like these are like the D-listers and like make them like the main characters kind of thing?
No, because they're like
the rest of them are like established superheroes.
Yeah, like he was an established superhero at one point. Like he's like famous in the universe.
He's just old now.
Yeah.
And they're like, please, and before all the bad shit, they're probably please stop being a superhero.
Yeah, so like all that stuff, and they're like, fuck, we have like no superheroes left. Like you see, like the families come up, like the one character, like Shazam character, like she gives her powers to other people, and like so they can be powerful too. And it comes up like at the end when they get called in, they're all dead. All the people she gave powers to are dead.
And so, have you read through all of that? Then is that just volume 1?
Yeah. This is the omnibus one. So yeah, but it's like
so you're definitely gonna read the rest of it though.
Yeah, so far it's super good. Really unique. Like I think every character is cool. I mean, yeah, there's like ape from things, and I think some characters aren't.
Maybe I'll pick it up in my next comic haul.
Fully aped, of course, because it's Dark Horse. It's super cheap too.
Yeah.
Like
well, I'm already doing a big
for
Dark Horse thing because I want to get some of those Hellboy ones because we're gonna do some Hellboy on the channel here.
Yeah, I don't. There's like some people that just have like cool powers, like I don't know if they're fully aped. Like, yeah, I don't know. Some things are like, yeah, they're aped. Like basically, the one dude's Captain America without the one dude's basically like the character that's named after Black Hammer.
Yeah.
Is basically Thor.
Oh, okay.
It's just like an inner city black guy who gets like a Thor hammer.
Really?
But then
That's
is like part of the.
So he's like Luke Cage crossed with Thor.
Yeah, and then but he also it's like part of a like Guardians of the Galaxy type group, or
so
I guess
like
Infinity Watch type
he's like
group.
A space character.
Yeah. So he's like doing a bunch of stuff.
Well, it sounds more interesting than I thought. Maybe I will give it a shot.
Yeah,
who does the art?
So I think it's Dean Ormston, David Rubin, Dave Stewart, and Todd Klein.
For some reason, I thought it was Mike Mignola or something.
No, I don't think any. I'm trying to think of like any really. There's some cool. Fuck. Okay, yeah, cool. There's like some really cool art in here. Like I don't know if you can.
Oh, that is really cool.
Like just really cool stuff, and that's like the one character I want to talk about was Colonel Weird.
Colonel Weird.
Yeah, he's like a space traveling guy who like gets sucked into like this like side dimension.
Yeah.
That can like see all of time and stuff like that. So he's almost a.
He's the guy from Interstellar.
Like, yeah, kind of, I guess. But he's almost like a Dr. Manhattan character.
Murph!
Where he doesn't, like, interfere with any... Like, he's super powerful.
Yeah.
But he's, like, a hands-off kind of hero. So it's kind of interesting to see him. Like, the way he does stuff. Because it's, like... We can only be, like, certain way because of this and this. Yeah. Like...
Now, that sounds like a super interesting premise. I would actually be, like, more interested to check that out now. Like, I think with the... Just one more thing. With the, like, cool powers thing you were talking about. Something that I think really attracts me to a lot of, like, manga stuff is just that I feel like a lot of the powers they have and a lot of those, like, battle shonens are just more unique than a lot of the powers they give, like, Western characters. So I'm always looking for stuff that, like, gives characters more interesting, unique power sets. Because I feel like in Western superhero comics, a lot of characters' powers are pretty derivative of each other. Like, most of the time. And I'm kind of getting tired of it. Like, if we're going to make new characters, like, let's give them something new. Like, part of the reason I really like Sideways, which we've talked about before, from, like, all the, like, Dark Multiverse stuff at DC. He's kind of like their, like, Spider-Man ripoff. So he looks like Spider-Man. That's a little bit of an ape. But what I like is that his powers are, like, totally different and unique. Because it's not even like he's Nightcrawler with the teleporting. Like, he can, like, make little portals and stuff. Like, I don't know. I just think that power is way more unique of an idea. And that could totally be toyed with a lot more than, like, some of these characters who are just, like, straight apes. Straight apes, dude.
Yeah. Sorry, I got a text now. Let's turn off my fucking...
No, you're good. I think we're actually going to wrap up here. So, I guess we'll give a little outro. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Yeah, I just want to say I'm not going to spoil anything for those, but I do think the Absolute Universe so far is really good. I did want to say that, and
maybe we'll do like a little topic on it if I get to reading some of
them. Strange Power stuff that also involves another shout out for our thing. I was playing My Hero Academia or whatever the fuck, My Hero One's Justice or something. Oh, like that.
Yeah.
The fighting game. That game is really fun, really fun. And I do think they have some unique powers in there.
That's cool.
But yeah, I just want to say that's really fun. And if you guys enjoy fighting episodes and enjoy comic stuff, because we might have some comic-esque shit in there as well, check out our Two Guys, One Show on Boss Nasty, because we're going to be doing fighting games, and we're going to maybe doing a DC, like DC versus Capcom and Marvel versus Mortal Kombat. Yeah. So
yeah, we're going to like take the two like crossover fighting games, and we're going to uncross them and maybe do like a versus battle type thing in the fighting game podcast. We're going to be doing a 3D Fighters and 2D Fighters episode. Those are going to be our two podcast episodes for this upcoming month of February. And the episode of this show coming out next month is going to be on... Dude, I can never do it. Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man. Again, we're going to cut those... We're going to cut those garbage X-Force... Not garbage, sorry. We're going to cut the X-Force stuff out of the back of it. So if you want to read along. And
who the fuck reads Sideways? Other than, I guess, the comic Sideways, because we're just talking about the comic Sideways.
We'll do that eventually. We'll have to do that eventually.
I do own one thing of that. But
yeah, you'll have to get Volume 2 and we'll do it eventually. But anyway, guys, thank you so much if you did watch this. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, leave a comment, leave a subscribe. Tell us what you're reading. Any other kind of comments you want to leave. Really good for the YouTube algorithm. Go check out all of our other stuff over on the Boss Nasty channel or on Spillage Studios. And,
or on Fig Nukin Records.
Or Fig Nukin Records. There's always
if you like
more.
metal, that's not just Dark Knights. Check it out over there.
That's so good. Okay, we'll see you guys, at least on this show, next month. Thank you so much.
Peace.
Peace.